WNST week here at WNST.net. We're encouraging everyone to get out and vote next week or vote early this week. And certainly it's Steelers week, and we've had a tragedy in Pittsburgh, and we got an important football game. And this is the week where I call out all the big dogs. So I'm going up to the hometown of Marlton, New Jersey, where he should be mayor and would be mayor if he were not breaking down Baldy's breakdowns in the National Football League Network, as well as out on Twitter. We welcome the original travel dog back, my one-time Kemosabe, but partner for life, Brian Baldinger joins us from the swamps in New Jersey. Baldy, we're 4-4. I mean, what happened, man?
Well, I mean, they're a little snake bit. I mean, you know, the loss to Cleveland, the way they lost to New Orleans. But I don't think anybody saw what Carolina did to them last week. You know, I mean, Norv Turner, they used to call the offensive coordinator of Carolina, when he was in Dallas, they used to call him Advil Norv. Because he just gave defenses a headache, and he gave the Ravens a headache on Sunday. You know, just with all the read option and all the motion and pre-snap motion and everything that he gives you, all the window dressing, they're a difficult offense to defend right now, and the Ravens had their problems.
Baldy, you're an interesting guy because you're of the age where, you know, you played for the ball coach back in the day. You remember film on projectors, and you now live in an eye world, and you're that guy now who's become teched up where you had all that film in your basement with chalkboards 20 years ago when you and I were doing Monster Mondays together up at NFL Films. I find it fascinating that some of the dinosaurs, you know, and maybe Morningwig would be one of these guys, and Norv Turner, and, you know, on the other side of the ball, got Dick LeBeau was going forever, Dean Pease, older folks who have watched this game evolve, and I guess you're one of them. I don't want to put us in the senior citizen, but we get AARP stuff at this point. But do you see just the incredible change in how the game has evolved since you were strapping it on as an Indianapolis Colt or an Eagle 30 years ago? And to see a guy like Norv Turner that's still around that has had to take his game to a different level, because these are different kind of athletes when we see what the Saints were doing with this kid Hill 2 weeks ago, as well as what the Ravens want to do with Lamar Jackson, that this isn't, 3 yards in a cloud of dust in any way, but for the Norv Turners and these guys that have graduated through the doctorate program of creating offense, this is a new era for even folks like you that have been watching this way for 40 years. Right?
Oh, yeah, look, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, if you just take Norv Turner and you think back to his days with, you know, Troy Aikman or Phillip Rivers and, you know, just pure pocket quarterbacks and what he did then, and to watch him coach Cam Newton right now, I mean, he's completing 2/3 of his passes. He's never done that before. You watch the way he uses Cam as the focal point of the offense, almost like he's back at Auburn. And then you watch him integrate a DJ Moore, a Christian McCaffrey, a Curtis Samuel, their top 3 picks of the last 2 seasons. And you go, well, coaching is about taking what I got and making it better than what you got. And I give Norv a ton of credit. I talked to him before the Eagles game 2 weeks ago, and he spent the year out of football last year. But his son was at Michigan, so he was there in Ann Arbor watching Harbaugh coach up and watch Big Ten offenses and studying it. And, you know, that's what good coaches do. They take what they have, and they figure out a way to make it better and make it work. And there's no blueprint for anything Norv Turner's ever done to see what he did Sunday against the league's best defense. And they were the league's best defense. They throttled the New Orleans Saints the week before for much of the day. But that's great coaching by Norv Turner and using what he has right now. And that's what you have to do. The game is a space game. It's the NFL can only take what the college game gives you, Nasty. And you better be able to apply it, because that's where the players are coming from. They're coming from these spread offenses, and that's what they know. And, you know, Marty is starting to integrate Lamar Jackson, you know, a little bit more, and I'm sure Joe Flacco doesn't like it, but all you have to do is watch what Taysom Hill is doing in New Orleans and seeing what Norv is doing with Cam. I mean, it's an evolving game.
It's amazing, the Baldy, like about 5-8 years ago, the Dolphins were running Wildcat, and everybody made fun of it, and Flacco made fun of it, and now when you have a special tool and the fastest guy on the field, and you mentioned DJ Moore coming out of Maryland. We saw him down at College Park, and the way the college game is played, saw a lot of that on Sunday, even amidst a sort of a sloppy fumble from Cam Newton in a giveaway that they turned into a gigantic play because no one could catch him on the field. And I don't know that we've seen that from Lamar Jackson or whether we'll see that. And Baldy, I am very, very skeptical as to whether Lamar Jackson is going to be a 75 snap a week, 13-game winner in the National Football League with his make and model and the way I see him throw the football and running around and how he would literally get broken in half. Although some of that's changed. The way quarterbacks get hit has changed as well. I saw Brady lead him with his head on Monday, which pretty much means nobody can tackle him. But the Lamar Jackson thing, is this, in your mind, an experiment to make him the quarterback next year, next week, 6 weeks from now? Because I'll be honest with you, at 4-4 right now, if they lose this week and they're now 3 behind the Steelers, even though they won up there, and all that they have ahead, and having to go out to L.A. and play, having to go out to Kansas City and play next month, I don't know what the experiment is other than win here, win right now, and that's for Harbaugh and Flacco and Weddle and Yonda and Suggs and any of the senior veterans around here. This is as important a Halloween week as we've had around here in a long time, man.
Well, I mean, all those things are true, but this isn't even a week-to-week league anymore, Nasty. I mean, it's almost a quarter-to-quarter week. I mean, they shut down the New Orleans Saints for almost an entire half. Like you've never seen them shut down before, yet they lose the game. It's almost a game within a game that you have to be able to coach and make these adjustments. And, you know, who can predict that Christian McCaffrey could take a tip pass at the goal line normally? You know, Eric Weddle tips that ball up. I mean, C.J. Mosley, somebody comes down with the ball, but not McCaffrey. I don't even know how he saw the ball. And it turns into a touchdown, you know, and it looked like an almost an insurmountable lead at 21-7. But the league is about athletes, and it's about making plays. Nobody puts 12 or 15 play drives together very often anymore in this league. It's about explosive plays. And if you get them, you get a better chance of winning. And if you can make those explosive plays, not turn the ball over, you're probably going to win. So Lamar Jackson, there's a role for him. I agree with you, Nasty. I don't see him as a every down quarterback. I just don't think that he's going to see the field well enough, that he's going to be patient enough in there. I mean, you got to allow the guy to develop, but he's got a limited role right now. It looks like he's expanding a little bit. I would kind of scratch my head long-term about it right now, but you know, I think the role that they're having him right now, I don't know how Marty decides when to put him on, when to take him off. I don't know that anybody knows at this point if there's any rhythm to it. But you got to put him out there somehow and let that athletic ability take over. And, you know, it worked last week at the end of the game.
How much does Brian Baldinger love me? So much that he takes time out of his busy Baldy breakdown schedule to not just do radio with me, but an hour before we do radio, I noticed he started breaking down the Panthers and the Ravens and looking at this. The differences you see from where Flacco was, and I'm going to bring this up several times this week. My listeners will get tired of hearing this, but Luke Jones and I walked out of Heinz Field, which feels like a minute ago, but feels like a year ago now, right? The team was 3-1. It was 2:30 in the morning. We had a 5:55 flight, literally, after that game. We're walking up the hill with our bags after doing the morning show on that Sunday night, and I said to him, I wonder what it's going to look like when Pittsburgh gets here before the bye, because you're 3-1 right now. You've just beaten them. They're down and out. Yeah, the Bengals are better, but where will you be? I didn't think it would be third place. I was pretty sure Hugh Jackson could be fired by now, Baldy, but I didn't think it was third place fighting for their lives while the Steelers and Bengals continue to just win games. Sometimes pretty, sometimes not pretty, but they're winning games, and now all of the pressure is on the Ravens at a time where 3 of the 5 offensive linemen are down, and you can speak better to that than probably anybody I know this side of Marshall Yonda, and right now the defense looks fatigued, it looks a little tired, it looks a little slow, and here come the Steelers with sort of blood in their eyes to end the Ravens season kind of sort of at Halloween if they were to go to 4-5.
Well, I mean, all that's true, but look, it was a good first quarter, it was a bad second quarter. You got to make it a good third quarter of the season. I mean, that's how you kind of split the year up. It's 16 games, it's 4 quarters, and I'm sure Harbaugh has mentioned that at some point to his team, that the first quarter was a winning quarter, second quarter was unacceptable. You know, the third quarter they've got to win, and they get a home game against Pittsburgh. The crowd will be into it. Everybody loves to watch the Steelers. Everybody loves this matchup. But you know, if you look at the Steelers right now, I mean, they don't miss Le'Veon Bell for a second. This James Conner has been everything that Le'Veon Bell's ever been. he's actually better than him in every single category. He's got 9 touchdowns in 7 games. I mean, he's been excellent. He's averaging over 10 yards a catch. He's a blocker. I mean, he doesn't bring any attention to himself. He just goes out and plays, and that's kind of like a Steeler football player. The offensive line's playing well, and they've got nothing but bona fide receivers on that. I mean, between Juju and AB and this rookie James Washington, and I mean, they just continue to stack receivers that can hurt you. Any one of them can hurt you, and hurt you bad. So the Ravens got their work cut out for them, but they just got to make it a better third quarter than the second quarter.
He is Brian Baldinger. He is Baldy NFL out on Twitter breaking stuff. Now, tell everybody what you're doing with your Baldy's breakdowns, because I know you're proud of it. I see you out there doing it on Facebook, on Twitter. You are, you know, I don't want to AARP you just yet, but you're having a time of your life with all of the technology side of this and the football side of this. And I guess to your point, it's even exciting for you because every week you're seeing things being done now that we haven't seen done in the NFL. As Ravens fans, I think we're seeing things here each and every week. And to your point, Joe Flacco might not like all of them, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, the good thing about what I'm doing, Nasty, is the game is a very complicated game, and it moves very fast. And I don't care if you're Troy Aikman or Chris Collinsworth, you know, Tony Romo. I saw Tony on Sunday. You could be an elite analyst, and you can have all the technology up there in the booth. You can only see so much right now. And so you've got to slow the game down, and you got to really kind of look at it from a different angle on Mondays and Tuesdays to see what happened and why it happened.
Because there's 11 different dances going on simultaneously, right? Literally.
Yeah, I mean, there's a game within a game. There's, you know, I mean, you just see so much from the All-22 camera, and, you know, you got to be able to bring the technology, the spot shadows and the arrows and kind of the narration of it. So I do it in a kind of an advanced technology form for the NFL, and then I do my own Twitter feeds where I can give every fan base, all 32. I don't have any bias towards anybody. I'll give you the good, the bad, the ugly of every single team every week. And fans are really clamoring for it. That's what they want. They don't want, I mean, no offense, but they don't want talk shows where people are just sort of talking in generalities. They want to see specifics. Are we getting better? Why did we just fire our coaches in Cleveland? What happened to the Ravens defense on Sunday? I mean, just go around the league. Why do the Rams just keep doing this? How is Patrick Mahomes the MVP of this league halfway through the season? I mean, those are the things that I think real fans like yourself, Nasty, and I put you up in the upper echelon because of everything that you do for the game and for the fans that follow the Ravens and other teams. But you need more information and better information. You really want to follow this game right now, and I'm trying to provide that.
Baldy's breakdowns, the way to do that, that's the hashtag. He is Baldy NFL out on Twitter. He's been my friend for a couple of decades and breaking stuff down. You know, I don't want to be so Raven-centric, but I want to be Raven-centric with you because I know you've been watching this and Morning Wig and what they're trying to do inside the offense here. But the defense for me, the tackling, the point of attack, the angles, the fatigue that comes this time of the year. Some thoughts about where this defense is, because to your point, 7 was the angles, the fatigue that comes this time of the year. Some thoughts about where this defense is, because to your point, 7 started the fourth quarter just 5 quarters ago, and the Ravens were feeling like, well, we're 5-2 here. This is going to be perfect. All of a sudden, you're 4-4. And it all has happened very, very quickly here to change how we're feeling about the team, how we're feeling about the injuries, but how you're feeling about the defense right now when you get toasted up the way Cam Newton did that down in Charlotte the other day.
Well, Cam, you know, in some ways, Nasty, what North Turner and Cam did to the Ravens is a little bit like a college team that's got to prepare for Navy in the middle of the season. I mean, it's hard to get ready for all of the window dressing, all of the motion, all of the disguise, all of the fakes that really test you every single play. I mean, Chris McCaffrey runs for his first NFL touchdown. Pierce has got the play completely blown up in the backfield. Somehow McCaffrey gets out of it. He's stopped 3 yards deep in his backfield. He ducks underneath his tight end, and he finds an alley to the end zone. I mean, you could do everything right in this business, but sometimes it's like squeezing Jell-O. And You can have every gap covered the way they did, and McCaffrey finds the end zone. So it's a great play on his part. I mean, you love to have kept it to a field goal right there. And if he doesn't escape like he did, you probably hold him to a field goal, and those kind of plays just change the game. Like I said, it's a week-to-week business. I mean, if you beat the Steelers this week and go to 5-4, you're right back where you want to be. You got a winning record. You win at home. You got both wins against the Steelers. I mean, this game is pivotal for the Ravens this week, and you can do all the matchup and all the pregame bluster you want about it. The fact is, if they find any way to win the game the way the Saints won the game 2 weeks ago, you're 5-4, and you got it all in front of you. Division, playoffs, the whole thing.
Baldy, for the Steelers and what they're packing and what they're bringing right now, you mentioned Connor, but then there's all the veteran quarterbacks in the league. And the good news is they're all standing. And I did see Brady sort of leading with his head at the, right at the sticks, and then he makes a second motion. There's a whole craftiness involved in this quarterback thing. And watching the Ravens try to tackle Cam Newton, and you can't hit him high, you can't hit him low, you can't double hit him, you can't hit him close to the sideline. There's a lot of things going on, but I do love that I'm not flying out to Green Bay to see Brett What's-His-Name play, or that I have a feeling that Mahomes will still be standing when the Ravens get there in December, and I hope that Joe Flacco is too. That's a good part of this, but along the way, it's been a very difficult thing, I think, for the fans, for the officials, and certainly for the players to figure out what penalties are and aren't at this point, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Players are adjusting, Nasty. Aaron Donald right now is a defensive player of the year in this league for the second year in a row. He's a dominant player. He was dominant against Green Bay. He was dominant. He's been just dominant the last month of the year. Almost like I've never seen a player, maybe J.J. Watt a couple of years ago. But if you watch Aaron Donald right now take down, Aaron Rodgers on Sunday, he changed the way he tackles him. He's falling on. He kind of let off on him as he's sacking him. I see a lot of players taking the quarterback and then rolling to the ground with them and rolling the quarterback over the top of them. I see players adjusting. And that's all the NFL wants is, look, we knew it was going to be, it's crazy, and we understand. To your point, these quarterbacks are healthy. And they're going to throw for 5,000 yards now, and they're going to throw for, Patrick Mahomes might throw for 50 touchdowns.
And there's going to be a lot of guys in his secondary with their feelings hurt, right? Literally, right?
Well, all that. But the great players are adjusting. And Clay Matthews can, look, I don't want to say that he's crying or whining. He had legitimate gripes. I saw some of those hits. But players are adjusting. And that's what you have. They adjusted in the secondary a decade ago about hitting defenseless receivers. Now, that guy in Cincinnati hadn't figured it out yet. But most players have figured it out. Of the targeting, laying off the head, leading with the shoulder, not launching. All these things that we've been hearing about. Players are adjusting a great deal. And they're going to have to continue to adjust more. And look, if you're a cornerback and a safety in this league, if you're Eric Weddle and you've made your life, made a great living in this business, being an enforcer in the middle of the field, you have to change the way he plays the game. It's just a different game right now.
Brian Baldinger is our guest. He, of course, is at NFL Network doing Baldy's breakdowns out on Twitter as well as at Baldy NFL. You mentioned the hits to the head and all that, and lo and behold, Greg Williams is a head coach again in the National Football League, and Hugh Jackson's out, and what do you make of the rest of the division here? I think that Cincinnati's always sort of sneaky, scary, quietly. Nobody takes them seriously, but they're sort of back to being a pretty good football team right now. And Cleveland, as much as, during Hard Knocks, I watched like everyone else and thought, well, maybe they got 6 wins in them or 7 wins in them. Instead, they have a fired head coach Halloween week. And I think that goes back to ownership there as much as anything. But it's always a mess in Cleveland, isn't it?
Well, it is, and I don't really understand what John Dorsey was thinking. He's a quality general manager. He understands personnel. But you come in here, you're drafting the quarterback number 1. You've got all these high picks. You got a coach that's here that's 1-31. And all that tells me is the coach couldn't figure out how to win games. You win one stinking game against the San Diego Chargers in his first year. If you're going to bring in a new general manager and you're going to start fresh with the new quarterback, why wouldn't you start with the new coach? Why would you give the coach a chance to show his resume to you. I mean, just start new. And now Dorsey's got to do that. And the quarterback is a really good player, And he should be a lot better than he is. The guys can't catch. They don't know how to really construct an offense around him right now. So they lose a year, but you can't lose the quarterback. I think the quarterback has a chance to be really good for a long time. He's got uncanny accuracy on deep balls. He's a tough kid, and he's a playmaker. It's everything you want right now. So, look, Greg Williams is the interim guy, and, maybe he gets the defense to play to their talent level. They should be a lot better than they are.
Well, they were good against us. I mean, everybody walked out of there with 9 points, feeling like we had our feelings hurt that day, for sure.
No, look, at Denzel Ward's blocking kicks and taking the ball away at the goal line, and he's looking like a candidate for, Baldy's Breakdowns Rookie of the Year, but I'll give it to Dante Jackson instead. But, regardless, they should have more wins than they do. And they've lost, 2 overtime games. They played a bunch of them. They just haven't figured out how to win. And so they made a change. And so maybe Greg Williams is a different voice in there. We know what Greg is like. We know how fiery he is. We know, he's going to speak to the players' emotions. So maybe the change is good, but they're going to probably have to go shopping for a new coach come next year. And so they may still be the same old Cleveland Browns.
Anything you want to say about the Rams and how good they are at this point, or even the Chiefs a little bit, or the Patriots? The really good teams start to separate themselves at this point in the year, and it does feel like we have a couple of pretty good teams out there, right?
We do. I mean, look, that Sean McVay is one heck of a coach. He can, and I've been around Sean. He's got a powerful voice that just cuts through all the clutter and all the noise that's out there. He is an expert play caller. He has a design of an offense that everybody is jealous of. He's completely revamped the quarterback that looked broken his rookie year. Todd Gurley is as good as you get in this business. I mean, and then you add all these pieces that people said, ooh, and Dominican Sue, ooh, Marcus Peters, Akeem Talib, boy. That's a dangerous, well, all that is worked out. All of it's worked out. And every close game, they figure out a way to win it. Doesn't matter if it's the Minnesota Vikings, pick a game, Seattle. They find a way to win the game.
And that's kind of an uncanny thing for a bunch of young guys, right? Like, there's nobody really around there that's been through the wars. And quite frankly, a couple of the guys who've been through the wars got thrown out of the war. I mean, you mentioned Sue and Talib and these guys and having to have a special coach to surround those guys. There's not a whole lot of people that have climbed the mountain in that organization. I mean, they're playing out there in a 100-year-old stadium. The whole thing felt like the last thing you would have expected when Kroenke packed up the bags and went out there, that they would be doing this, right?
Well, I think, Sean McVay could go down to the ESPN zone there in the harbor and get 11 guys that he could coach them up. I mean, the guy just has great communication skills, and he just has a great idea about how offense should be played. I mean, the guy just has a steel trap of a memory and a recall button unlike anybody else that I've been around in this business. And I just think he's what the coaching is all about. He's going to take what he's got, and he's going to put him in the best possible way. I mean, if Denver says, okay, we're not going to let you beat us over the top with any deep passes, well, then Todd Gurley is going to run for 208 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, you're going to have to pick your poison when you play that team. But, look, Kansas City is right there. Patrick Mahomes is legit. That guy has... There's the X's and O's, and there's the design of plays, and then there's Patrick Mahomes and what he brings to it, which is a flair of fun, of backyard football, of gunslinger, and a belief that he can make every single play from anywhere on the field. And it's fun to watch. I mean, it's really fun football to watching Kansas City right now.
All right, we got fun football ahead. We'll slug it out with the Steelers here with our lives on the line. Baldy, always a good to see you out there. I'm following you with Twitter and Facebook, and I see you out on college fields on Saturdays and in pro booths on Sundays and on fields. So I know you've been very, very busy this time of year. I always appreciate you taking a little time out and coming on with us, man.
Anything for you, Nasty. We go way back, man. So good being with you, Nasty. We'll catch up down the road. Enjoy this rivalry this weekend, man. These are fun and special games.
I'm only going to enjoy it if Mike Tomlin has his feelings hurt at 4 o'clock on Sunday, all right? We'll see you soon.
You go kiss and make up in the offseason, but he's the enemy this week.
Yeah, there'll be beverages afterward, but, harsh words before. But you can't be harsh on Pittsburgh this week. We're all in it together, Baldy, right? We're all in it together.
Yep.
See you soon. There he goes, Baldy NFL out on Twitter, and Brian Baldinger, who has been my friend for a couple of decades now. Why? I don't know. We always have fun together, Brian Baldinger and I. All of it brought to you by our friends at Royal Farms. Real fresh, real fast, and the tasty coffee and the Kona blend in your cup, 99 cents while it lasts. Going to have some new deals in November at Royal Farms. I have to put the chicken back on. See, I like Chicken Palooza as well. Get the Rofo Rewards card. Download the app to your phone. Use that. You'll get your coffee and your Western fries and your fried chicken free when you're using that when you're pumping your gas. Royal Farms, real fresh, real fast. The buyatoyota.com audio vault is there 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world that you go. Each and every morning, our morning newspaper delivers at 7 a.m. digitally. It's all brought to you by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com, where it's $5 down, $10 a month. You move inside, stay warm here in the winter, get yourself in the best shape of your life. I'm 50 now, so I gotta I'm staying lean and mean. Planet Fitness always a part of that. Got one right a block away from my place too, downtown. Also, the Maryland Jockey Club and Laurel Park, where they've expanded the sports bar there. Great food, great dining options, and lovely horses. My wife loves a Saturday at the track. So get on down to Laurel. The entries on the front of WNST.net as well as in our morning newspaper daily. I am Nestor. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. I am on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.